He's not just a country singer, he's the king of country. George Strait has been the voice behind some of the greatest country songs ever recorded. With a career that spans more than 4 decades, from the legendary Amarillo by Morning to the heartwarming Check Yes or No, his music has touched millions. But recently, something unexpected happened that shocked fans worldwide. News broke that left many heartbroken, confused, and searching for answers. Known for his calm, reserved personality, George Strait never sought controversy or headlines. Yet, a recent story involving him went viral, leaving everyone wondering what could have shaken such a seemingly untouchable icon. George Harvey Strait Sr. was born on May 18, 1952, in the tiny town of Poteet, Texas. He grew up in nearby Pearsall in Frio County, where life was simple and steeped in tradition. His father, John Byron Strait Sr., taught junior high math, but on weekends, the family worked their 20,000-acre cattle ranch near Big Wells, Texas. George's rural upbringing instilled in him a strong work ethic early on. However, his childhood wasn't without challenges. When George was in 4th grade, his parents divorced. His mother left with his sister Pensy, leaving George and his older brother John, Buddy Jr., to be raised by their father. Despite the emotional toll, the trio stuck together, managing both school and ranch responsibilities. As a teenager, George dabbled in music by playing with a local rock and roll garage band called the Stoics. Like many kids in the 1960s, he was heavily influenced by the British invasion, especially the Beatles. "The Beatles were big," George once said. "I listened to them a great deal." But over time, George gravitated toward country music. His preferences shifted to legends like Hank Thompson, Lefty Frizzell, Merle Haggard, George Jones, and Hank Williams. He was also a fan of Bob Wills and admired Frank Sinatra's polished singing style. Interestingly, he didn't grow up glued to country radio. He preferred farmer-focused news broadcasts, experiencing country music live in small-town Texas venues, a tradition that would shape his musical journey. In those early years, no one imagined that the quiet, hard-working boy from Pearsall would one day be crowned the king of country. But even then, George Strait stood out. Off the stage, George Strait's personal life has been filled with love, loss, and quiet resilience. He married his high school sweetheart, Norma, in a secret ceremony across the border in Mexico in December 1971. They later welcomed their first child, Jennifer, in October 1972, and their son George, Bubba, Strait Jr. followed in 1981. Tragedy struck in 1986 when 13-year-old Jennifer died in a car accident near San Marcos, Texas. The devastating loss led George to retreat further from public life, valuing privacy more than ever. In honor of their daughter, George and Norma founded the Jennifer Lynn Strait Foundation, which quietly donates to children's charities in the San Antonio area. Bubba inherited his father's love for cowboy life, graduating from Texas A&M and becoming a professional team roper. In 2006, George proudly watched his son compete at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, before performing a sold-out show that very night. More loss followed in 2009 when George's brother Buddy passed away at age 58. Throughout these hardships, George stayed grounded in faith, family, and the values of his ranch upbringing. His loyalty extended into charitable work. In 2010, he became a spokesperson for the Wrangler National Patriot Program, supporting wounded and fallen U.S. troops and their families. "When they approached me with a way to help our veterans, I couldn't refuse," he said. George's family continued to grow in 2012 when Bubba and his wife Tamara welcomed George Harvey Strait III, instantly making George a proud grandpa. Roping remained a family passion. From 1983 to 2017, George hosted the annual George Strait Team Roping Classic, drawing top competitors to Kingsville and later the San Antonio Rose Palace. Outside the arena, George often traveled aboard his Gulfstream G450 jet, tail number N518GS, which he used to assist Texas Governor Greg Abbott with Hurricane Harvey relief efforts in 2017. His philanthropic pursuits also led him to co-found the Vaqueros Del Mar Invitational Golf Tournament and Concert, raising over $5 million since 2012 for wounded warriors through David Feardy's Troops First Foundation. In 2018, he was honored as Texan of the Year by the Texas Legislative Conference, a recognition of his charitable spirit and enduring legacy. Despite his clean-cut image, George Strait has not been immune to the dangers of false rumors. In 2018, a disturbing hoax spread online claiming he had been accused of stalking and harassment by a woman named Emmy Lou Hayes. The story gained traction quickly, sending fans into a panic. However, the fact-checking site Snopes investigated and found no evidence that the woman existed, nor any record of allegations against George. No police reports or legal action were ever filed. It was entirely fabricated, a hoax that showed how fast misinformation can spread on social media, especially when it involves beloved public figures. Fortunately, most fans recognized the truth and continued to stand by the artist, known for his integrity and respectful demeanor. A similar case of online misinformation occurred a few years later when memes began circulating that George Strait had called Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter project trash. The claims spread rapidly, surprising and angering fans of both icons. But again, the story was false. Saving Country Music, a reputable site for country music news, tracked the origin of the quote to a satirical Facebook page. No credible source, interview, or public statement ever confirmed George made such a comment. In reality, George Strait has never spoken publicly about Beyoncé or her work. The meme was a fabrication, and it served as another reminder of how online rumors can fuel unnecessary outrage. Through all the ups and downs, family tragedies, internet hoaxes, and a lifetime in the spotlight, George Strait has remained a pillar of authenticity, humility, and grace. His legacy isn't just in chart-topping hits, but in how he's carried himself, with quiet strength, deep loyalty, and a commitment to the values that shaped him on the backroads of Texas. He truly is, and always will be, the king of country. It's a good reminder to always be cautious before believing or sharing viral posts without verifying the facts. A recent example is the entirely fabricated claim that George Strait called Beyoncé's musical endeavors trash. That quote was completely made up, and both artists deserve respect for their accomplishments in their respective genres. In another controversy, during a 2024 stadium show, George Strait made a brief, rapid arm-pumping gesture while singing, which some fans interpreted as a political signal, dubbed the Trump train gesture. This stirred speculation online because Strait is known for avoiding politics in his performances. Taste of Country covered the moment, with fans split on its meaning. While some claimed it was a subtle nod to Donald Trump, others saw it as simply part of Strait's usual on-stage energy. Notably, Strait never addressed the incident publicly, leaving the interpretation up to fans. Without a clear statement, any political meaning attributed to the move remains speculative. Strait's focus has always been music, not politics, and this moment did not change that. Another long-standing debate surrounding Strait is his 1999 performance of Murder on Music Row with Alan Jackson. Performed at the CMA Awards and later included in his latest Greatest Straightest Hits collection, the song criticized the country music industry for shifting toward pop influences. Traditionalists hailed it as a defense of true country, while younger artists and critics found it unfairly dismissive of evolving genres. Even in 2024, as the song celebrated its 25th anniversary, the tension it highlighted between purists and innovators remains strong. The song has become an anthem whenever debates over the direction of country music arise, particularly as modern artists collaborate with rappers and viral internet personalities. Despite the backlash, neither Strait nor Jackson apologized for the song, instead reaffirming their love for traditional country music. Another criticism often aimed at George Strait is that he doesn't write most of his own songs. This issue re-emerged in 2023, with critics questioning the authenticity of an artist who doesn't pen his own lyrics. However, defenders argue that Strait's genius lies in his ability to select meaningful songs and deliver them with power and sincerity. Like Frank Sinatra, Strait's talent as a performer, not necessarily as a songwriter, defines his legacy. Strait himself rarely addresses this criticism, focusing instead on connecting with fans through well-chosen, emotionally resonant music. With over 60 #1 singles, his formula has clearly worked. In 2024, Strait once again found himself at the center of online buzz when a camera caught his expression during a high-energy country rap medley at the CMA Awards. His face remained stone still, no reaction, no applause, and social media exploded with theories. Some believed it was a silent protest, a look of disapproval, while others said he was simply lost in thought. Strait never commented, allowing the internet to spin its own story. For many, it symbolized the divide between traditional and modern country music. Others viewed it as an exaggerated reaction to a brief moment of silence. The truth remains unknown, but it illustrates how quickly a viral moment can define public perception. Yet another controversy brewed when George Strait's 2025 stadium tour dates were announced, and Texas, his home state, was missing. For most artists, skipping a single state isn't unusual, but for Strait, a Texas icon, it felt like a personal snub. Fans flooded social media with confusion and frustration. Local outlets like My San Antonio echoed the disappointment, questioning how the king of country could bypass the very state that built his legacy. Stadiums in San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas, where Strait has made history, were glaringly absent from the schedule. No official explanation was given, leaving room for speculation. Was he saving Texas for a big announcement, or was it a scheduling conflict? For now, the omission remains unresolved, but the reaction highlights just how deep Strait's ties to Texas run. Ultimately, it wasn't a scandal, but it certainly struck a chord with most Texas fans. For them, George Strait's music represents state pride, so bypassing a Texas stop on such a massive tour felt like missing a family reunion. Whether this decision was temporary or permanent, it caused a lot of buzz and reminded everyone just how deeply Texans adore George Strait. However, Strait has also found himself at the center of environmental discussions. While not known for leading a very public life, one detail about his lifestyle raised eyebrows: his private plane. In 2022, a report from Climate Jets revealed that Strait's Gulfstream G450 jet emitted approximately 423 tons of carbon dioxide in a single year. To put that into context, that's more carbon output than what 27 average Americans produce in an entire year. The revelation gained traction online, especially among environmentally conscious fans. Yahoo News and Celebrity Net Worth both reported the story, drawing further attention to the environmental impact of Strait's touring. Though Strait has not publicly responded to the criticism, it sparked a wider conversation. While it's common for celebrities with global fame to use private jets for comfort, seclusion, and scheduling flexibility, the rising concerns over climate change make such luxury increasingly hard to justify. Some fans defended Strait, explaining that many artists with grueling schedules rely on private planes, while others expressed disappointment, urging celebrities to take more responsibility in lowering their carbon footprints or at least paying for carbon offsets. So far, there have been no reported changes to Strait's travel habits, but the report served as a reminder that even country music legends aren't immune to public scrutiny when it comes to global responsibility. More recently, George Strait left fans worried after a surprising incident during a concert. While touring with Chris Stapleton, the 72-year-old icon appeared visibly uncomfortable during a performance in Philadelphia. Halfway through the show, he had to sit down, something completely uncharacteristic for the country star. A concertgoer shared a TikTok video of the moment, captioning it, "George says his back went out and he won't be dancing around like he normally does." Though Strait joked about the situation in a light-hearted tone, fans flooded the comment section with concern and well wishes. Despite not performing as often in recent years, whenever Strait takes the stage, it's a major event. His fans cherish the deep emotion he pours into every song. It's clear that Strait still loves performing, but the recent back pain raised questions about how much longer he'll continue touring. He didn't leave fans in suspense for long. In a touching moment during that same concert, he opened up, "I've got maybe 5 good years to sing my songs to you people." He went on to add, "For heaven's sake, it's been about 50 years now, and I still enjoy it just as much." He moved the audience further by saying, "When I move through those curtains and I see your smiling faces, my feet don't hit the ground again until I walk back out and get on that bus." It was a heartfelt reminder that, despite his larger-than-life status, Strait is human, and age eventually catches up with everyone. Still, his passion for music and his fans remains unwavering, and many hope he continues for as long as possible. Artists like George Strait only come around once in a lifetime. Strait's legendary status isn't just built on fan devotion, it's backed by a record-breaking resume. His career stats are almost unbelievable. He holds the record for the most #1 albums and singles in country music history and has received more gold, platinum, and multi-platinum certifications than any other artist in the genre. Even when compared across all music genres, he ranks 11th for #1 albums. Only the Beatles and Elvis Presley surpass him in gold and platinum album certifications. Altogether, Strait has sold about 70 million records in the U.S. alone, making him the 12th best-selling artist in American music history. Since 2013, he's held the world record for the most #1 hits across all Billboard charts. 60 of his songs reached that top spot. Even more impressive, Strait is the only artist in any genre to have had a top 10 hit every year for 30 straight years. He's just a few hits shy of Eddie Arnold's all-time record of 92 top tens. Award-wise, George Strait is a one-man trophy factory. He's won 22 CMA awards, including the prestigious Entertainer of the Year title in 1989, 1990, and 2013, making him the only artist to win it in 3 separate decades. He leads all artists in total CMA nominations and in consecutive nominations. At the Academy of Country Music, ACM, Awards, he has mirrored those achievements. In 2006, Strait was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, an honor typically reserved for artists long past their commercial peak. He was only the second artist after Eddie Arnold to receive the accolade while still actively charting hits. In 2010, Billboard named him the top country artist of the previous 25 years, and in 2008, the ACM honored him as Artist of the Decade for the 2000s, joining the ranks of legends like Loretta Lynn and Garth Brooks. Strait made history again in 2013 when he won the CMA Entertainer of the Year award, becoming the oldest recipient ever and setting the record for the longest span, 23 years, between wins. He's also tied with Merle Haggard for the most male vocalist of the year awards. One of his most iconic performances came on June 1, 2013, when 70,000 fans packed San Antonio's Alamo Dome for the midpoint of his 2-year farewell tour. Even Texas Governor Rick Perry joined the celebration, proclaiming May 18, Strait's birthday, as George Strait Day in Texas for all future years. When you add it all up, the staggering sales, unmatched chart records, overflowing award shelves, and sold-out shows, it becomes clear why many call him the King of Country. Few artists in any genre can rival the longevity, consistency, and fan devotion that define George Strait's career.